friends. Today I wanted to show you my traveler's notebook system and all of the bits and pieces that I keep in my notebook with me. This notebook I basically have in my bag and I carry back and forth with me to work every day, and I have it nice and handy so that if there are things that I need to remember, I can put them into my notebook right away and they won't be forgotten. This one is a traditional Midori Traveler's Notebook. I bought it online from their store. The only difference is that when it comes, this elastic is actually coming through this little hole at the back of the cover. And what I found is when it was coming out of that hole and then I would go to write in my journal, it was kind of bumpy because there's that big knot that's coming out the back. So I just took that out and I attached it in the top just to this little metal piece. I don't know what you call it, but it's just that little metal piece that is kind of holding their elastic system together. And I just clipped it on there, wrapped it around there, and then when I want to close my album, I simply pull this down over one corner, and it helps to hold everything together to make sure stuff isn't falling out or that my notebook is coming open inside of my bag or anything like that. So this is my traveler's notebook system. You can see on the front that I have a little quote here. This is one that I did in my calligraphy and did a little bit of watercolor to go with it. I clipped it on the front with just this bulldog clip, and this is, usually I have something here just as a reminder. It's always there for me to look at, something that I want to be inspired by, or in this case a lesson that I need to learn. So this one's been on the front cover of my notebook for a while because I need to learn how to rise above all those little things that might eat at me or bug me during the day. So I've had this one on for a while to remind me to just rise above and overlook some of those piddly things. On the inside of the cover, I just have a collection of sticky notes. I typically write things down on sticky notes and at work, and then clip them here if they're things that are important to me. And then at some point they will transfer into one of the notebooks that I have within my album, and so this is just a good place to hold them until I have another place to put them or know what I want to do with them. And then further to that, I have actually added a little sticky notepad right here on the front cover, and I don't know if you can see, but just with a strip of tape across the back of the notebook, and then because this is still sticky, the sticky side of the sticky notes, I can just stick that back on there, and so far it's been holding well and I don't have a problem. So now I always have some sticky notes handy and ready to go when I need to write something down. So that's the front cover. Then inside my album, I have 3 different notebooks. So this first one is one that just I have done with a watercolor lines design. My intention was always to put the month on here, and I still have that to do. But anyways, this one is my calendar or my day timer, and this is where I keep all of my appointments. I put down anything that's important that I want to include in scrapbooking. I do all my to-do lists so that I can check them off as I've completed, and I've really found that this way of keeping track of the things that I need to get done allows me to actually do them and not just put them off, but it's very motivating for me to be able to check things off. So when I write them in my notebook, in my calendar, my day timer, then I'm more likely to finish them and complete them. This is another notebook that you can purchase from my shop, and it is 2 months at a time. So this one happens to be September and October. I'm almost finished through this one. So each notebook has 2 months in it. It begins with a calendar, a full month calendar, and then so you have that sort of month at a glance, and then within there are 5 weeks of a week at a time and a little space for some notes at the bottom. on each page. Then between the 2 months, there is a quote page and then just a to-do list. Usually what I write here are things that I'm trying to accomplish sometime during that month. And then those are things that I will break down into smaller bite-sized pieces within the weeks of my calendar, so that again I can make sure and accomplish those things. So 2 months at a time. And October's almost finished, so I'm gonna have to get myself the next notebook to fill up with November and December. The next notebook that I have here is another one that I have made, and this one, the cover is a beautiful paper that is from a recycled shopping bag, and I had some friends visit from Brazil. They brought me a gift of coffee, and so there were coffee beans on the outside of the bag, and I just loved the texture of this paper. It's a very thick paper, and so I repurposed it as the cover of my notebook. And again, there are a number of different notebooks within my Etsy shop that you can take a look at that I have created from other shopping bags and repurpose that paper into the covers for some notebooks. So this one just happens to be some random thoughts that I am collecting. Not really a diary because I don't write it in every day, but it's kind of things like realizations about life or lessons that I'm working on or learning. This one, I had happened to read an article on being relentless, and that really struck a chord with me. So I just wrote some reflective things on, you know, what does relentless mean to me and those kinds of things. So this one is a dot notebook, and I don't have any dot notebooks yet in my shop, but I was kind of using this one as a trial to see if it was something that I might down the road include. But I really like the dot because it's not a full line, and so when I go to do my journaling, it just, I don't know, it flows nicely. So that's my thoughts notebook that I always have in my Traveler's Notebook system. And then you can see here that I have a plastic, I don't know what you call it, plastic pocket piece. And this one is straight from the Midori store again. It has two sides to it. The first, it has a nice long deep pocket for any kind of reminders or things that I want to stick in there. Right now I just have a note from a colleague. And then on the inside are 3 smaller pockets, and again I've just been putting in some little calligraphy pieces that I'm working on. On the opposite side is this lovely zip pouch, and I use it obviously for my pens that I use to write with in my notebooks. And so these ones are the Staedtler pens, and they just write really nice and smooth, and they're nice bright colors, and they fit nice and handy in this little pouch. So I always have those with me because I can tuck them right into my notebook here. And then the final notebook that I have in here is just one of ideas. And again, this one I started in September, filled up other ideas books, and so started this new one. But it could be anything from projects that I intend to make and include in my shop, or this was, I was going on a trip, and so this was my packing list. Here I'd been doing some research on creating a font from my handwriting, so I was writing notes there. Here's some upcoming ideas I have for some Christmas kits that I'm thinking of doing. So this one's just a blank notebook, and it allows me to just keep whatever ideas that are popping into my head. Often when I browse through magazines or, you know, I don't know, I might have seen something online or on Pinterest, and I just think, oh, I could do that, or oh, that makes me think of this. Then I right away go and write it here in my ideas notebook. Sometimes it goes on a sticky, but then eventually that sticky will translate into an entry in this little ideas book so that I don't lose those thoughts. So those are the 3 notebooks that I include in my system, and might not be the way that everybody does it, but that's how I do it, and it's working for me. So if you have any further questions or comments, I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. Have a great day.